Hello and welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neal Howard. Thank you for joining us. Our guest is best-selling author, nutrition and overeating expert, Julia Ross, and she's joining us here on the program to talk about her brand new book, The Craving Cure, Identify Your Craving Type to Activate Your Natural Appetite Control. Welcome to the program, Julia. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
Now, you're an author and nutrition expert. Which were you first? Were you the author first, the nutrition expert first, or did they happen at the same time?
No, the expertise stimulated the writing. I mean, I was so excited about what we discovered in my nutritional clinics that I just had to let people know how to do it themselves.
Now, as a nutritionist, do you deal just in overeating, eating disorders? What is your specific area when it comes to living better nutritionally?
Well, originally, I was the director of an addiction treatment program for drug and alcohol addicts, and then I added a food addiction component to it, and eventually added a nutritional component to all of it, and found that regardless of the kind of addiction that our clients were suffering from, the nutritional support was extraordinarily helpful, dramatically so. At this time, we have a virtual clinic that is exclusively and specifically devoted to what I call the dietary apocalypse, helping people survive it, escape from it, and eliminate the cravings for the toxic foods that are really doing us in at this moment worldwide.
Are these toxic foods some of the reason that a lot of us just can't stick to a diet? I've heard that my whole life. I'm on a diet, I'm off a diet. What's the real reason we can't maintain?
Well, the real reason is that our brain won't let us. The kinds of foods that we're eating are brain targeted. They're carefully designed to addict us by altering the messages that our brain's 5 appetite regulating chemicals would ordinarily send out. Modest appetite, a hunger for steak and eggs, or a smoothie, or some other healthful item. Now, though, we have lost our appetite for healthful foods because we have been addicted to really drugs that are dressed up to look like foods, brain-active substances that are very potent, especially when combined, like sugar and chocolate, and flour with fat and salt. It exponentially increases the addictiveness in the brain.
Now, you say that the brain is, I guess, transmitting these signals of satisfaction. Are we craving the taste of these foods, or are we craving the nutrients that our body thinks that it's going to get? Or is it a combination of the two when these signals are being interrupted?
Well, it has nothing to do with nutrient craving, because these foods are, now known to be about 60% nutritionally void. But they have this drug-like effect, just like we might crave cocaine, not for its nutritional benefits, but for what the manipulation of our brain chemistry to give us a temporary and intense high. We get this big pleasure burst. The food industry calls it the bliss point technology to, better provide this drug-like experience that we then get addicted to and have to keep coming back for, because our own natural capacity to generate, our own pleasure and happiness is being interfered with, and all, we become to depend on these drug foods to give us, the reward and pleasure in life that we otherwise, are lacking.
Well, how can we, as consumers, identify when we're being manipulated by the foods that we're buying at the supermarket? How can we identify what we're craving and maybe curb those cravings?
Yeah, well, what is a craving? First of all, when we're constantly gravitating back to substances, food substances that we know are causing problems. Now, if you have chocolate every once in a while, no big deal, unless it makes you violently ill, but you still can't, stay away from it. Very rare. But if you're gravitating towards chocolate-containing foods every day and your weight is out of control, and you've just been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, which, half the population, the adult population in the United States is either obese or diabetic at some degree, then you're in the grip of a serious craving. A minor craving, not causing problems, forget it. But if you're in the grips of something that you just are frightened of but can't control, that's when we need the techniques that I talk about in the book. And happily, these 5 brain centers that generate our cravings can be tamed so that they go back to just generating a good appetite for healthful food if we feed them properly. It turns out that these brain sites are fed by little proteins or amino acids, which are the constituents of protein. And brain science has identified that there's, just a certain number of, and oftentimes only one amino acid or protein that is needed for each of these different appetite regulators. And there's a questionnaire that the book starts out with, Craving Type questionnaire, that 5 parts, allows you to identify, in a few minutes, 5 minutes, which area of your brain needs attention, is generating the cravings that you're fighting. And then that allows you to use the book to identify which amino acids you should trial, and the effects are typically evident within, 10 minutes to 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why I had to write this book, because we started doing these trials in the office, and we would see the changes right there. Originally, we sent them home, and they'd come back in a week and say, gosh, amazing, I don't crave anymore. But now we know that the effects can kick in much more rapidly.
This is not your first book, as a matter of fact, but this is the third in the series?
That's right. The earlier book was The Mood Cure, which was focused on how to improve your mood by feeding your brain.
Where can we go online and pick up one?
Well, anywhere. You can go to cravingcure.com and actually take the Craving Type questionnaire and order a book. Of course, you can go to any book ordering location like Amazon, or you can run down the street and to your local bookstore and find it prominently displayed. It's just recently released.
Thank you for talking with us today. It's been a pleasure. Julia Ross, a
likewise,
pioneer in the use of nutritional therapy for the treatment of eating disorders, addictions, and mood problems.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neal Howard. Transcripts and audio of the program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au.